everybody watching on our YouTube and Facebook Live. Glad to have you guys with us as we are continuously talking about the SWAC. We're previewing every team as we head into SWAC Media Days. Thus far, we've talked about Mississippi Valley, Bethune-Cookman, and UAPB, Grambling State, Prairie View, Texas Southern. We just wrapped up Alabama A&M, Alcorn State, and Alabama State. Now we have 3 teams left, and let's look at one of those 3 teams. The Rattlers of Florida A&M Blue. Got my man Zach McKinnell joining me from FCS Football Central. In 2024, Blue, the Rattlers went 7-5, 5-3 in conference play. Their notable win on the season was a 22-18 victory over South Carolina State. Their worst loss, 56-9 to the University of Miami. Offensively, we look at the Rattlers. They ranked 4th in scoring, averaging 24 points a game last year. They were 3rd in the conference in total offense, averaging 383 yards of total offense. 7th in rush offense, averaging 145 yards rushing a game in the conference. And they were 2nd in pass offense, averaging 238 yards passing a game. Defensively, they were 5th in scoring defense, giving up an average of 27 points a game, Blue. They were 5th in total defense, giving up an average of 349 yards a game. 7th in rush defense, giving up an average of 167 yards a game. And 2nd in pass defense, giving up 145 yards a game. Blue, for you, looking at FAMU last year and then coming into this year.
I think the biggest thing with FAMU that I saw is that they took such a massive step backwards in terms of their trench play defensively, Perry, and that really hurt them against some of the more elite teams that they saw on their schedule. I.e. specifically Jackson State. They were just so bad against the run at times. And then on the flip side, Perry, until the last week of the season, they couldn't run the ball. Their offensive line really wasn't bad statistically and just kind of watching on film. It was just, for some reason, running the football, the scheme they were trying to use to run the ball just wasn't working. And I do wonder if this year that's going to change with the new OC. I think wide receiver, they have a few key guys coming back, but in overall depth, I'm a little bit concerned. I think they added a few guys in the portal that are going to have to take on pretty big roles. The biggest question, though, is going to be quarterback, Barry. Who's going to come in and start at quarterback? They lose Daniel Richardson this offseason. You bring in Tyler Jefferson from Central Michigan, who appears to kind of be the favorite. You add 2 late guys in R.J. Johnson from Toledo. You add a guy in Jet Petty, who was an all-conference type JUCO kid out of Long Beach City College out in California. Who's going to win that job? I'll be honest, I really like Petty's just moxie and his ability to throw the football. I think he has the best arm. Jefferson is almost kind of like a bigger version of what they have with Daniel Richardson. I think he's coming in. He's lost a lot of weight. He came into college about 240. They got him listed at about 225 right now. So he's getting really in shape. Their offensive line should be super experienced. They have a bunch of seniority on there, a bunch of guys over 300 pounds that should be able to move the line of scrimmage. They added a few guys in the portal that should come in and compete for starting jobs. Linebackers should be really good. The question is going to be, can they find anyone to get after the quarterback, Perry? I talked about it all last year. When you look back at how good FAMU was in the previous seasons, they had a guy who could go get the quarterback, and they had someone on the interior defensive line that could make stuff happen, a Gentle Hunt, someone like that. Who's going to be that guy? There was a lot of hype with Davey and Westmoreland last year. Didn't really live up to the hype. And I really am curious if they have anybody who can get after the quarterback, and that's going to be my biggest question mark for FAMU.
Does Cozy kind of teeter that hot seat, considering losing the Prairie View, losing the Valley last year, snapping the win streak at home? Is it kind of tough on Cozy over there?
Yeah, I think the pressure's on him. Now, Perry, I don't see him getting fired if they win 7 or more games, but if you get into that 6-6, 5-7, it wouldn't surprise me. FAMU is kind of in that same boat as Southern, right, Perry? Where, heck, if you're not working, Southern's not afraid to pull the trigger on anybody, right? Yeah. It doesn't matter who you are. And FAMU and Jackson fall into that same category where if you're not living up to the hype, the fans are going to let you hear it, and there's going to be some boosters, alum in the back with a lot of pull who are going to get you up out of there. And I think FAMU had a little bit of taste of that success with Willie Simmons winning the Celebration Bowl. And I think if he wouldn't have lost to Valley last year, Perry, I think we're having a different conversation. It's just the way that you lose to PV and Valley, and he almost choked up the Florida Classic, too. Let's not forget that. They won it, but it was a close game. I think it depends on who he loses to this year. Like if you get blown out by Jackson, you lose a game a game you're not supposed to, and or the Florida Classic. I think he could be up out of there, and I think it's a tough situation because I hate firing coaches year two. But Perry, that's the game we live in today, man. It's immediate success. We expect you to win with the transfer portal, and I think Colsey put himself behind the eight ball, losing those 2 games to PV and Valley last year.
Well, they made sure this time they're not going to Itabena. They're going to have Valley over in Atlanta.